The first piece is an oil painting on canvas by Claude Lorraine entitled Embarkation of Ulysses, or sometimes known as The Homecoming of Odysseus. It was painted in 1646 and can now be found at the Louvre. The ship bounded forward on her way as a four-in-hand chariot flies over the course when the horses feel the whip. Her prow curvetted as it were the neck of a stallion, and a great wave of dark blue water seethed in her wake. Next we have an etching from the 17th century, the current location of which is unknown. It was done by Theodore Van Thulden and is called Odysseus is Put Ashore in Ithaca. It shows a scene from Book 13 of the Odyssey. When, however, they had landed, the first thing they did was to lift Ulysses, with his rug and the linen sheet, out of the ship, and lay him down upon the sand, still fast asleep. This is painted terracotta by the artist known as the Pig Painter, entitled Odysseus and Eumaeus the Swineherd. It was done between 470 and 460 BC, and can now be found at the Fitzwilliam Museum. It shows a scene from Book 14 of the Odyssey. Ulysses was cunning enough to sit down and loose hold of the stick that he had in his hand. Still, he would have been torn by them in his own homestead had not the swineherd dropped his ox-hide, rushed full speed through the gate of the yard. Here is a fresco from the National Museum in Stockholm by Jacob Jordaens, entitled Telemachus Leads Theoclymenus to Penelope. It was done in 1630 and shows a scene from Book 15 of the Odyssey. I should have bidden you go to my own house, for you would find no want of hospitality. At the present moment, however, you would not be comfortable there, for I shall be away, and my mother will not see you. This drawing of pen and brown ink was at one point used as wallpaper, but is now found in the National Gallery in Canada. It was done by Wilhelm Tischbein, and the name is not known, but is commonly referred to as Odysseus and Telemachus. It was done around 1819, and it shows a scene from Book 16 of the Odyssey. You are not my father, but some god is flattering me with vain hopes that I may grieve the more hereafter. No mortal man could of himself contrive to do as you have been doing, and make yourself old and young at a moment's notice, unless the god were with him. A second ago you were old, and all in rags, and now you are like some god come down from heaven. This oil painting on canvas by Henry Lucien Dauquet was done between 1856 and 1895, and also shows a scene from Book 16 of the Odyssey. Its title is Reunion of Odysseus and Telemachus, and can now be found in a public collection. As he spoke, he kissed his son, and a tear fell from his cheek onto the ground. This artwork is of Odysseus seeing his dog Argos for the first time in 20 years, and the dog dies. This artwork is a coin, so there is no one artist, and we know from when Homer lived it should be around 750 to 700 BC. Its current location is unknown, and it shows a scene from Book 17 in the Odyssey. This was Argos, whom Ulysses had bred before setting out for Troy, but he had never had any work out for him. In the old days he used to be taken out by the young men, and they went hunting wild goats or deer or hares. But now his master was gone, and he was lying neglected on the heaps of mule and cow dung that lay in front of the stable doors, till the men should come and draw it away to manure the great close. And he was full of fleas. As soon as he saw Ulysses standing there, he dropped his ears and wagged his tails, but he could not get close up to his master. This is an oil-on-canvas painting by John Flaxman of Odysseus fighting Iris. I found this painting in the Catawba College. This painting is from Book 18 of the Odyssey. The stranger and Iris have quarreled and are going to fight. Let us set them out to do so at once. This depiction is an oil-on-canvas of Odysseus recognized by Euryclea. It is by Gustave Boulanger in the year 1849. I found this at the Catawba College. My dear child, I am sure you must be Ulysses himself, only I did not know you till I had actually touched and handled you. This beautiful fresco portrays a scene from Book 20 of the Odyssey. In this wonderful work of art, Odysseus is portrayed as a beggar. The stranger has already had a large portion as anyone else. This is well, for it is not right nor reasonable to ill-treat any guest of Telemachus who comes here. This artwork can be referred to as Ulysses disguised as beggar, and can be found in the National Archaeological Museum of Naples. Unfortunately, the date that it was created is unknown. This artwork seems to belong to a collection entitled Homer, the Odyssey. It is a wonderful portrayal of Penelope, Odysseus' wife, carrying her beloved husband's bow to the suitors, where she plans to challenge them to a contest in Book 21 of the Odyssey. When she reached the suitors, she stood by one of the bearing posts supporting the roof of the cloister, holding a veil before her face, and with the maid on either side of her. This epic illustration was done 800 to 600 BC, or we have found after Flaxman. Unfortunately, the creator of this beautiful piece is unknown. This stunning capture, an illustration belonging to a collection entitled Homer the Odyssey, beautifully portrays one of the most famous scenes from Book 22 of the Odyssey. In this artwork, we see Odysseus with his strung bow about to shoot all of the suitors and retain his throne on Ithaca. On this, he aimed a deadly arrow at Antinous, who was about to take up a two-handled gold cup to drink his wine and already had it in his hands. This wonderful portrayal was done 800 to 600 BC, or we have found after Flaxman. Unfortunately, the creator of this beautiful piece is unknown along with its location. This is yet another beautiful capture of a very famous scene from Book 22 of the Odyssey. In this wonderful illustration, Odysseus is portrayed fighting the suitors in the main hall of his home island of Ithaca. The suitors were in an uproar when they saw that a man had been hit. They sprang in dismay, one and all of them, from their seats and looked everywhere towards the walls, but there was neither shield nor spear, and they rebuked Ulysses very angrily. This artwork, entitled Game of Suitors, was created by F. Preller in 1875, and it can be found in a museum in Weimar. This illustration captures a beautiful scene from Book 23 of the Odyssey, where 20 years after years of being apart, Penelope and Odysseus are reacquainted and spend many hours talking about all that happens in Odysseus' journey. When Ulysses and Penelope had had their fill of love, they fell talking with one another. She told him how much she had to bear in seeing the house filled with the crowd of wicked suitors who had killed so many sheep and oxen on her account, and had drunk so many casks of wine. Ulysses, in his turn, told her what he had suffered, and how much trouble he had given himself to other people. He told her everything, and she was so delighted to listen that she never wanted to sleep till he had ended his whole story. This beautiful artwork is titled Odysseus and Penelope, and was created by Ganelli in 1844, and it is an engraving. This beautiful engraving captures a wonderful scene from Book 24 of the Odyssey, in which Odysseus reunites himself with his father Laertes, even though his father is skeptical of whether it is really him. A dark cloud of sorrow fell upon Laertes as he listened. He filled both hands with the dust from off the ground and poured it over his gray head, groaning heavily as he did so. This artwork was created by Ganelli in 1844 and is entitled Odysseus and Laertes. Unfortunately, the location of this beautiful work of art is unknown. This beautiful oil painting on canvas by Wilhelm Tischbein was done in 1802. Its title, Odysseus and Penelope, shows a scene from Book 23 of the Odyssey. It is now located in a private collection. Let your mother put me to any proof she likes. She will make up her mind about it presently. She rejects me for the moment and believes me to be somebody else, because I am covered with dirt and have such bad clothes on.